My dear friends, I'm super excited being here with you at the end of the year, and thanks for being awesome leader. And this video is for you because we are entering the end of the year. Maybe you watch it at the start of the year, you're thinking, hey, how do I start the year or how do I end it with a bang? And if that's what interests you, then you are at the right place because it interests me as well. And maybe you find yourself these days a little bit rumbling throughout the days, hoping you finish the tasks at work and at home, and you're like, ooh, family's coming over for holidays, or you're heading out. Maybe you're gonna spend time with your family outside your country. Perhaps, like myself, it will be the first time when you're not gonna spend Christmas traditionally with gifts, dinner, and friends, maybe Christmas markets and stuff like that, or even the festive holidays traditionally like you would, but instead you're heading out outside your comfort zone. Maybe it's something different you do. Maybe you travel. Perhaps you decided to spend time with yourself and prepare for the new year, journal and meditate and do some crazy challenges that you feel good entering the new year with a bang. And wherever you are on this spectrum, I think this video is for you because it will remind you and refresh some of the things that we all need to do. And you, like myself probably, and you can see I'm festively dressed and I have my ugly Christmas sweater on just to remind us that this is the end of the year. As you can see on the other side, we have here a little festive celebration. I know you don't cannot see in front of me, but and next to me I have a Christmas tree, and it reminds us, right, that this time of the year is special. It's precious. We should spend it focused and present. And if you are rushing to finish all those tasks, I praise you. I think it's good to finish the year strong and also focus on ourselves. I know if you are like me, you're playing the long game. You know that things won't happen like this. It takes time, it takes perseverance, it takes energy, and you should focus on your next best move. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should feel right for you. It should feel good for you. It should feel like a challenge. And it should feel like you're doing something where you're rewarded for your efforts, but also where you're growing into the better version of yourself, because dreaming without doing is, hope unfulfilled. And we are dreamers, but we are also doers. And like myself, you're dreaming. You want better version for a better future, and better version of yourself is required to bring you closer to the better future. And this is where we are today. And this is also why I'm shooting you this video, so you can really start the week, the month, and the year with a bang. So I have a couple of things that I actually, align for myself, reminded myself, but also want to line up for you so that you can really start the year consciously. Before we jump into that, I just want to take you through a little exercise that helps me always to start or finish the year strongly. So maybe take 5 minutes, pull up a piece of paper, a journal. Ideally, you have a journal by now, because when you see my videos, often I talk about journaling, and that's on purpose because it's a magical tool and it helps you to capture your thoughts, your history. You can always revisit it. I have like different type of journals. One is on my computer, one is on my iPad, where I'm, every time I travel, for example, I journal there about a period I'm going through, tough decisions, and the feelings it leaves me with, the decisions I want to take. Whatever you choose now, write down, how was the year? What did you learn so far? Where have you struggled? And how have you overcome the whole period? Overcome the period? What was the moment that shaped you into the better version? And perhaps the year was horrible. Perhaps you really struggled wherever you went, wherever you go. It just felt like a drag, and you didn't feel this spark and the zest for life. But perhaps it was a ride, it was a joyous ride, and you really enjoyed it wherever you went. So whatever that is, just take time now, maybe pause the video and take 5-10 minutes. If you need half an hour, just write, the 3 moments that actually were very inspiring, maybe 3 moments that actually were challenging. And then write, what have you learned from that? I call it the wins, walls, wisdom. So really, what were the wins? What were the challenges? And what was the wisdom? What have you learned from all of that? And when you do this, then you will, take time to reflect on this, see what is the pattern, what have you learned? And perhaps it will show you that, when you think of the previous years, that you haven't really progressed, or perhaps you made big progress. And this is also why I want to bring some new tools into your toolkit for the new year, because what really helped me this year is to hire a coach. I've been always obstinate towards this because I feel I'm, based on where I come from, Eastern European, moved to the West, lived in different countries. I was quite over reliant now that actually it was pointed out to me, and it left me with some blind spots. And I've realized that really on this self-discovery journey, on this personal development journey, we really need actually people that are showing us the different way how to think and how to feel. And it's not always so straightforward. You really sometimes, or those moments are very tiny and very clear and precise in what we should learn. And that also means that sometimes we need to really have somebody else who has more experience pointing it out, maybe who went actually through that similar situation or particular situation. So this is also kind of the action I want you to think about. If you haven't thought about psychologist, psychotherapist, cognitive behavioral coach, then this is the first point for an action point for your 2023. I definitely consider that for my next year, because that helped me and that was kind of exercise for me. And maybe for me, just to give you a little analogy or a little example, I have been building for the last couple of years a company called Fit Fun Life, where we focus really on coaching and nutrition, creating magazines, podcasts, courses, and etc. And I was always surrounded, or actually on purpose, because that was part of the business, to work with coaches and smart people. So I interview them and I talk to them, and I always enjoyed that. I enjoyed this, and I really found it very beneficial doing it. But it's different when you work on yourself and when you hire somebody to talk about stuff you feel uncomfortable. And then why I'm saying it, and this is where we're going to move to the today's topic, is because sometimes we work with old tools that don't serve us anymore, and we use them to get us where we are today, but those tools might be a bit obsolete and a bit stagnant for where we want to go. So this is where I make the transition to show you what I mean. So the first topic I want to talk about, and it's really, let's think about the leadership lens. Anything we do in life, and this is also why a lot of these things I'm creating, like the Resilient Leader community or courses, or even different type of masterminds, is really from the leadership perspective, because I've spent 20 years in corporate and I have seen, probably like you, bad leaders, or bosses as I call them, because leaders often lead by example. Bosses boss other people around, and that prompt me to really bring this topic to you. So I want you to put this leader lens. 2023 is coming up, or is already here. How do you approach this? Whether you have a team, whether you're an individual contributor or leading your family, how can you be better? How can you shine? How can you make, if you turn in the end of 2023 backwards, probably like this, how are you managing it? And how have you managed that year so that you really, like we do now, looking at it ahead of in that year or even behind, and you're journaling and you're thinking, wow, I have actually not just 3 moments, but I have 10 moments I can journal on that were amazing. And I have only 3 actually obstacles. And obviously everybody wishes that, but maybe it's 10-10, it doesn't matter. What really matters is you want to have an amazing year. So what have you done as a leader to make it happen? So first of all, I call it the START framework, or radiate framework, if you will. Let's use the both acronym, START and radiate. First, what you can see here on the top is walk. Then we see group, and then we see trouble. So what I want to talk about first, if you want to be an epic leader, you need to move. And I put it like a triangle or a little framework where you can really think, hey, I can live with this. Because like like myself, we are busy. I wake up in the morning and I have my routine, and I know, wow, I want to write, I want to go for a walk, I want to meditate, I want to exercise, I want to drink my healthy green juice, and I want to help my girlfriend to build up her workstation, or I want to be grateful, and I want to take out the trash, and all these different things that come. But I know that I need to do certain things to get in this flow. And for me, that's really walking, exercising, meditating. But why I put the walk there? Because I remember the other day when I did a coaching with my 2 friends, Fatima K, and also my other friend, Sam Kiani, and we did this 1-month challenge. And it was kind of group coaching where we combined my expertise as a fitness coach, a mindset coach, and Fatima was more on the mindset side, and Sam was really kind of the glue. And we had this group of females actually that we were coaching, and one of them, I remember, really struggled as a high performer with walking. Just simple things. She said, I don't have time for anything, and I need to walk. And it really daunted on me, because I see myself during the day that anything that I get done is really through and because of walking, because I get the movement in, because I get the blood flow, I get all the benefits. And I have my watch even here. If you're wondering what is it for brand, it's Sunto. I had another brand actually, and I'm really happy, although I feel like the newest version is a bit slower than the previous that I had. And what really helps me and why I bought Sunto is to get the steps in, to know that I get my 10,000 steps. Now, most of the time, I'm about 14, 15,000 steps because I'm doing a lot of other stuff. But this walking habit really helped me to ingrain that. With that, the second point I want to point out, where you see my finger, is the group. This is how you're going to radiate energy or positivity, is by being surrounded by some people. This is something I couldn't stress more, and this is also why I'm doing this program, Radiate or Radiant Leader, Resilient Leader, where you're surrounded by people who are high performers. We go live together, we talk about challenges, and we think, how can we improve this? How can we improve ourselves? How can we improve the team? And how can we improve the organization? And it really starts by having these people who are kick-ass performers, and perhaps even ordinary people. You don't need to be surrounded by A players always, people who are doing Olympics and who training 8 hours a day. I just met the other day with friends, and one of my friends, she actually works for Accenture, and her boyfriend is triathlon athlete, and he did Ironman, and he runs a lot, and he did also the other day a 24-hour run. And I'm I would say born athlete, because I've done a lot of different sports, triathlon as well, football, hockey, floorball, table tennis competitively, which I actually now revisit again, and obviously bodybuilding competitively. But I never really clinged to sports that are too extreme beside obstacle racing. But what I want to say is that I realize now more than ever that it's really cool to do group sports. And I neglected it for a period of time when I was doing bodybuilding. But as I mentioned, I returned back to table tennis. But even groups like this, I created also in COVID, Business Future Mastermind, I call it, for C-level individuals around Europe. And we meet once a month and we talk about topics, we share struggles. And it's individuals like you and me, different age groups, but people who are driven, who are open, who are generous, and who want to make a difference genuinely in their world in their own way. And again, going back to being over reliant, we live in this Western society, which I really noticed a lot. If you compare West with East, where I'm born in Eastern Europe, you see that family plays a massive role. And it's not always like this, but let's just now go with the extremes. In the West is more obligation, in the East, it's really, if you look at Ukraine, for example, you see that people really there come together. I remember times when I was visiting Ukraine and I was blown away by how when you walk on the streets, people are actually seem like really angry strangers, but when you go to the family, it's like a holy unity. They drink together, they stick together, they pray together, whatever that is, they are just together. It's really magnificent. And that probably if you go to Asia and these cultures, collectivistic cultures, they stick together rather like here in the West, we try to do everything and solve everything on our own and we are afraid to make mistakes. And I really want to encourage you to take this different lens for your new year. The last piece with really radiating energy, and you see my finger here, it's travel. So start, radiate energy and positivity will really come with doing different things. But one thing that I really notice is that my spouse, my fiance actually loves to travel, and we are together a couple of years now. And I noticed that I didn't really like travel. And the reason for that is actually I found it out recently when I was doing this work with a coach where I just love to work. I love to work. It's my escapism, if you will, my world to escape from insecurity. And I built it over the years when I lived in the West and I was, had to rely on myself. I had to have a couple jobs to pay my studies and to build myself up. And I succeeded, but I also create this, I call it fake security by just being glued to the computer, building my businesses, working, 24/7, if you will, not taking enough breaks. And I really recognize this now when we got together with my spouse, where she said, hey, I would like to go for a period of time visit that part of the world. And I really struggled. It took me sometimes when we already traveled out to that place, couple of days to relax and to calm down. I was constantly thinking, hey, I need to work, and I felt this urge of anxiety and fear that I'm doing something wrong. And over a period of time, journaling and all the tools I'm giving you and analyzing, I figured, hey, I probably developed this sense of security by working and as I'm getting older, I figure out moving into having a family and living in different cultures, I need to have more modern tools to deal with this. And travel, it's a beautiful tool. I believe that every month we should be traveling. We should be visiting new places or taking a weekend off. And I've been neglecting this because, like myself, pointing here, and like you want to live long, right? You want to be like those blue zone cultures from Sardinia, Okinawa, or the Adventists from California, people who live long. Even if you go to different cultures, different countries, probably even you haven't heard of, Costa Ricans or Costa Rica, those people actually they are not always the most, I wouldn't say educated, but most rich people, but they live really long just because they have a strong social networks. And travel can expose you to this, to new cultures, and really realizing that we are a big world with unique individuals, and people need you. People need your uniqueness, and you can shine it by exposing yourself to this. So this is the first pillar. I want you to think about it. Okay, I want to radiate energy. That's the goal. I want to radiate positivity, and I need energy. And how do I get energy? From walk, from talking to other people, also maybe doing a group sport. In that case, also think about your health. And I mean, I have here another, if we talk about health, another card that just supports this, and I'm gonna get to it really quick. It's really your fasting, your detox, and your strategies. So when we think about your health, it's really, what we consume physically, the nutrition and the food can build us or break us. So I want to encourage you for 2023 to make challenge with yourself. During the week, it's your holy week, if you will. You eat clean. You might be like, hey, Matteo, what is really clean? It's a subjective. So let's think about, on one side, you have sweets, bread, and alcohol. And on the other side, you have salads, salmon, whole foods, sweet potatoes, and all these different goodies, mushrooms, broccoli, and things that are often unsexy. So I want you to take this lens for 2023 and think, hey, I want to be healthy. So I want to first eat healthier. So that's really the kind of the strategy we were talking about here. And that means each week during the week, I will not eat any sweets, drink any alcohol, and eat no bread. On the weekend, it's a different story. I don't believe in, being over reliant and having one particular diet. I tried keto, I tried, high carbs, low carbs, everything possible. But I know that it has to work for you. That's why making sure that you strategize and you have this in your pocket as a strategy for weeks where maybe you slip, you have business meetings, you travel, and wow, I actually need to be more conscious what I'm eating. Not only you're gonna maintain your weight or maybe even lose weight to have more energy. And there is a lot of science showing that actually people who have lower body fat are more happier with themselves, but also live longer, and overall actually the energy, and again coming back to energy, feeling better. So choose less processed foods and choose more wholesome foods like salmon, maybe bio chicken, maybe some steak, venison, all these different food sources of protein. Be more conscious when you eat it. See how it makes you feel. Then I want you guys, and I mentioned the fast, so I go quickly back to it. Fasting, what I really mean is for a period of time, don't eat. Eat, for example, if you like breakfast, eat breakfast. But then from breakfast on, or maybe eat, let's say, till 2 p.m. That's your latest food, or 3 p.m. But from 3 p.m. till the next day, you're not gonna eat again until maybe 8 or 9 in the morning. So you have always this period where you're fasting. But maybe like myself, where I actually prefer skipping breakfast and starting eating by 12 or 1 p.m., sometimes even later, then you have probably about between 12 to 16 hours under your belt of fasting, and then 8 hours of eating window. Then obviously again during the week it can differ. At least during the week, most of the time I keep this tradition, but on the weekend it can differ. Sometimes on Saturday I'm starting at 12 or 1, sometimes 11 already when we have a brunch, like last weekend with friends. But sometimes on Sunday, even if there is a place and room for it, I fast until 3 or 4 and I just have one meal. So really making this habit in your life, again with the leader and longevity perspective, you know that you need to do something that other people don't like to do. And especially fasting has been shown that on energy level, on disease level, it drops significantly. I mean, energy increases and diseases drop, like cancer, Alzheimer, for people who actually fast. So if you're interested in this topic, because I don't want to go too long and ramble, really want to give you this just gist of it, that you understand that fasting is really good stuff for you. And then the last piece is detox. Guys, detoxing, if you haven't thought about this actively, you're missing out. Detoxing, what I really mean is the liver is your organ which filters all the things that come in. And over a period of time, the liver can get stagnant, sluggish, and it malfunctions. A lot of things can actually, or diseases like heart attack, and a lot of different serious diseases might be actually related to liver, although doctors don't talk about this. But over a period of time, when the liver is sluggish and stagnant, a lot of toxins and other particles might leak into the blood, which actually circulate and clog the arteries, etc. So I want you really to have strong liver. And how do you do it? You detox. One thing you can do is really drinking celery juice or different juices, but celery is amazing for detoxing liver, detoxing the gut, increasing a lot of good minerals and vitamins in your body, but also it's a great potent drink like coconut water, if not better, electrolyte drink, if you will, which is great for your adrenals. So you will constantly feel charged. So that's something that I gave you a little bit as an addition. So you have the whole radiating energy or positivity, and it really comes, as you can see, to physical health, but also whether that's nutrition, which I just gave you as an addition, but your resilience and your group, people you have around yourself, and travel. Now I'm gonna talk a little bit deeper in this session about managing your stress and managing your insecurity. And you see on one side, you have mental health, you have your relationships, you have your resilience, you have your health, which we already mentioned here, you have your tools, and you have your physical health. So I'm just gonna blow through this real quick because I know we are stretching it a little bit, but I really want you to take the time to go through this because it will help you to finish the year strong. Ask yourself when you're journaling, hey, how am I doing on all these areas? I know this guy is crazy. He's talking about a lot of different areas, but how am I doing on this? So let's think about your mental health. You know, when you wake up in the morning, I judge it. How is your positivity? On 1 to 10, are you positive? Are you grateful? Are you in love with life? Are you in awe? You know, what feeling do you have? Do you have shivers when are you able to cry when you see a movie? And again, air quotes, you don't need to cry when you see a romantic movie, but are you really in touch with yourself? And I mean, there is a lot of heart involved in this and self-work, but I want you to really think about, are you positive? Then the relationships, it's very key for your life. Your network is your net worth, says Chris Herron. And I really believe, because I'm, sales marketing guy, I come from that background where I know that network is your key. People or how to activate it. It's very difficult, but easy for people who know how to do that. And building the key relationships. That's also why I'm building this community and like-minded people and bringing them together. So if you really want to be part of this resilient leader community, please reach out, share this, or reach out if you want to know more, but also share it with other people who might benefit from this and who might actually be interested in this. Big part of this is resilience, and you heard me saying this word a couple times. But resilience is really the ability to overcome our strength and overcome challenges, if you will, with strength and resolve, and being able to adapt to any situation. It's now important more than ever. I always say the next 10 years is going to be probably more difficult than we ever imagined. But on the other hand, there are a lot of tools. There are a lot of cool people, and let's use that. Then we have the health. How do we deal with the health? How do we deal with nutrition? So I gave you already here a little card about fasting, about detox, about strategizing, your bread, your alcohol, your sweets. But how are you eating? What tools are you using to measure that you're making progress? Especially if you want to look good and feel good, you need to eat the right food. And then physical energy. We didn't talk about it so much. We just talked about walking. But what about high interval training? What about, lifting heavy weights? And you can see a lot of people, and I just actually shared today, and probably when you're watching this, it's been a while back or it's been already a few days, but I have shared today on Instagram this elderly lady who's in a gym and she's doing push-ups on the medicine ball while do actually leaning on something else. And then you can see that she's muscled and she's probably about 80, 90 years old. And this is how I see myself. And this also shows how much work we need to put into being fit. So again, I'll just show you this card for the overview. Mental, relationship, resilience, physical, tools, and health. So I just want to stop lastly with the tools, because that's something it's been very dear to me. And using different, I wouldn't say shortcuts, but different ways to remind myself how I can live strong and how I can simplify my day. So we talked about this friend of mine or this client of mine a while back when she was part of his coaching group. And one tool for her was go walk every day for 5 minutes. Prepare the shoes, get outside. Another tool is, for example, my favorite tool, 7-minute high interval training from Chris Heria, where in the morning you jump in and you do 7 minutes repetitive workouts for, from burpees to squats to jumping jacks, whatever it is. And this is my staple. I do it no matter what. Wherever I am, I always bring that in. So if I know I have heavy schedule, I travel, I have to speak, or I need to do this training, presentations, or pitch for a client, I know that I have my staple. I have my meditation, I have my journaling, I have my workout, I have my walk, and it's all dialed in. Maybe it's not as long as usual, but it's there. And this gets me going through the day so I can be there, be present, and fall back on the resilience that I have built, the strength and mindfulness. So this, you see all these different tools. I'm throwing all the tools at you: journaling, mindfulness, walking, high interval training, weekly training. One weekly training I talk about is really that 150 burpees, 150 squats, and 150 crunches we do with my girlfriend or my spouse each week. And we've been doing it for years, and I can see how strong I've become. And the fact when I'm getting sick, or the rate of getting sick, went significantly down. And it's not just because of that, but because I developed the energy on one side, I improved my sleep, I improved the way I eat, I started dialing down on inflammation, things and foods that actually are not good for me, like too much stress, too much alcohol, or really not thinking about my passions, working on my stuff that I like. And this is what I'm gonna talk about to you guys right now. And this is the third point. We are stretching this video, and there is a reason for it, because I know you're finishing the year or you're starting the new one and you want to be really, there is a lot you can do. There is so much you can do. And oftentimes it's really doing 3 things. And this is why I'm simplifying it on these cards for you. So you have really the radiating or starting, and then you have these simple things, and then you have managing. And that's the thing. Like, life itself, it's complex, but it's also, what I always say, very simple. You just need to do one thing at a time. And this is what we will be doing together in 2023 and the coming years. We're going live together, talking through these points and thinking how it works for you, how it works for your loved ones. What can we do about it? Where can we improve, or what could we improve? So the last point, I want you to step or finish the year really strong as an inspiring leader. I want you first, lead yourself, lead others, and then lead organization. And the stress is on inspiring. If you haven't been inspiring, ask yourself, why is that? Perhaps you say, I was not born like that. I don't need to inspire people. I'm happy. All what you just said, it's valid. However, there is one challenge with it. Tony Robbins says, when we don't progress, we deteriorate, not just health-wise, but also in our life. And human beings have something in common. They like to progress. They like to grow. The thing is, when we grow, it's not a linear progress. It's often like this, bumpy, up, down, left, right, up, down, and then eventually we improve. And Tony Robbins, I remember once when I was watching his Business Mastery, he wrote it, and that was really like going up, actually going down, and then you actually do exponential jump. And I want you to look at your life like this when you're leading yourself. Everything else in your life will grow as much as you grow. Your team will grow as much as you grow. Your organization will grow as much as you grow. And again, this is between air quotes because you're not the only one. There are other people, so you might be replaceable. Maybe you're not a boss of the company, but if you're an entrepreneur, then obviously this is really for you. If you're not positive enough and you're not spreading this mindset throughout the organization, it won't happen, right? That people are positive, that people actually radiate this energy. But if you have that, if you have this building your credibility, your integrity, working on yourself as a leader to be productive, be focused, and inspiring other people, you're probably gonna start tapping into inspiration and purpose and really asking yourself diligently, hey, why I'm doing this? Because what I see really here in the West is that people are so, and again, I'm saying it because I know I've been sometimes like that, really like a robot when I'm living from my mind rather than from my heart. And I think we need both worlds. But oftentimes when you go through decisions and decision making, you realize that your gut often knows the answer before everything else. And sometimes you can question it and sometimes you can override it. And I've done it, made some wrong career choices, which I regretted later on. But also, on the other hand, I've listened to my gut and I made really awesome choices. And sometimes you don't see that, end of the tunnel and you're like, well, I hope this is going to pan out. And often it does, maybe in a complete different way. But think about it, you're building the foundation, right? When we started this conversation, it was about how can you finish this year strong? And these are tools you can tap into it, but also how can you build an awesome year? And I'm asking myself every single year, how can I have 10x more results than I had last year? Perhaps it's learning, the way you learn, that you're asking questions, you're listening, you have this drive and this interest or this desire to learn. But then it's really the tools down to, how fast are you learning through your visual, your kinesthetic touch, or your, audio kind of system, maybe combining all three tools. But really it's about the desire to learn and finding your way. For example, the reason, what is really important for you, is it just to learn or is it the speed of learning? So now, obviously with podcasts, you can listen on 1x or you can listen on 3x and learn 3 times the average person, or use all the breaks where you are, in the shower, in your car, in your gym, or when you're making your smoothie, to learn and use it as a university, as Jim Quick talks about. And this is what all these different things might seem like a little bit overwhelming, but in a nutshell, they are actually very simple. You want to learn for yourself. You want to improve, and you want to have this vision and this passion that every year is better. Because when you're growing, things around you are changing. You're getting better. It's not always that visible, but you're playing the long game, right? We tend to underestimate how much we get done in 10 years and overestimate how much we get done in 1 year. I am definitely a good case for this, because I always think 1 year I can get everything done, and I'm end of this year and I'm like, wow, I'm far. I made good steps, good progress, but it's just the time flew like this. But then you turn a decade back and you're like, wow, I have really made a great progress. And especially if you look at people who stick it out in a personal development or in other industries, people that you admire who work, like my girlfriend, for a long time in one industry, and they are amazing, they are progressing, and they are getting really deep on that particular topic. It's obviously one way to master something, but it also shows the potential and how resilient you will become through this. So then really, guys, I want to focus on leading the others and organizations. So I already told you a little bit, but leading others really requires understanding yourself, being empathetic, kind, but also towards others. When you are the leader who prioritizes other people, it will always come back to you. You know, karma is really giving without expecting anything in return. Of course, when it comes back to the business world, you always have to be smart because you want to provide for your family. And I've been guilty of this some period of my time or life, because I've been giving a lot of value away without really expecting anything in return. And I feel now I need to use this to actually bring this to the world and use it to make this world a better place. But also, you want to think long term. You want to work on your projects. You want to work on your life project. You know, what are your top 5 goals for your life? This is the perfect time of the year or beginning of the year to think about, you know, whether that's financial freedom, whether that's resilience, being a resilient leader, whether that's maybe awesome and epic business skills. Perhaps it's even traveling, you know, building a certain lifestyle which will bring you further and which will inspire the people. And then, you know, leaving an impact. What are the things you can do to help people be better and be better yourself? And I call it an organization, but organization can be the world. It can be, you know, yourself. It can be the team. It can be, you know, people of your friends, group of friends, your historical friends, your maintenance friends, and your growth friends. You know, I'm often talking about this from a perspective that I'm trying to stick around growth friends. And growth friends, I mean, this group is actually focused on the future, not so much as the past. They use the memories of the past, as Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, to learn and to move ahead and to grow. But the growth-oriented people have growth-oriented mindset, so they want to go ahead and they want to do it better, faster, and they are better and become also and be better human beings along the way, not just for the sake of, you know, profit. So as we are approaching the end, guys, I want to just conclude this with one little anecdote. A while back, I struggled. I struggled with, you know, my weight. I struggled with my mindset. And I said a while back, it's actually probably 2 decades. And I was a teen kid. I grew up on a farm. My parents actually just divorced. And I was thinking, believe it or not, about suicide. I was thinking about, okay, I want to end my life, because I felt that my life was hanging on a thread. I was quite strong kid. I was, you know, quite, I wouldn't say big, but I was physically strong. I was working a lot on a farm. You can imagine all that physical work, but I felt very vulnerable in my mind, because I believe that, you know, people, when they marry, they should be together forever. And this one notion of people not staying together and my parents not staying together broke all my belief system. Everything I believed until then about my dad, whether he's a good human being or not, and my mom kind of suffering, and me being a mediator between my parents, my sister. I suffered, and I suffered greatly. And that's where I really remember standing on this huge rock, and I thought, well, I'm just gonna jump, just gonna end this. And there in that moment, I realized the huge power of our life, and the strength of it, and the life force, how life doesn't want to go away from my body. I was thinking of the moments that I overcame by then, but also it showed me how resilient we are as human beings. And then when I'm thinking now 2 decades back, and I made there and then decision to change my life, to be the beacon of hope and inspiration, and guide my life with this force, which is resilience, which is the way of the turtle, playing the long game, being the guy who never gives up and backs on. When he falls, he gets up for the 10th time. There and then, I decided to change my life. Did it happen overnight? No. I was scared. I was insecure. I had to deal with it. But there, this one belief propelled me into action. propelled me into doing things. And this is the thing. We need to do more than we think. We plan, over strategize, but don't do. And now when I think about it, 2 decades or the next 10 years, I'm excited because I know I need to do more. Or maybe need to do less on some part. Scale it, zero in, start building rather than being scattered all over the place. Whatever that is for you, you got enough time. Stay positive, stay awesome, and stay really believing that life is there for you and happening for you, not to you. There is so much goodness and so much good people and so many good people despite the rising prices, inflation, gas, war in Ukraine or in other parts of the world like Iran. We need people like you who step into the better versions of themselves through all these tools, managing your energy or your positivity through energy, but also leading and managing all these different areas, your wellness as I call it, and then leading yourself, your team, and your organization or the world. When you have these tools, think about them. Rewind this video and think, wow, this guy is really mumbling on. But I hope it helps you to give you the tools when you're stepping into the new year. You say, well, what do I do? What do I need to do more of? And be true and honest to yourself. I know these are basics and maybe you already do, but think, how can you go to the next level? Maybe you already do the high interval training. Okay. Can you do 3 rounds? Can you do, 150 burpees with a weight vest? Can you go to sauna for half an hour instead of 20 minutes? Stretch yourself, push the boundaries a little further, and share the successes with other people. Because when we take care of ourselves, everything else will take care of itself. So guys, I just want to finish this and give you this motivation to really be focused on where you're going. Whether you're finishing the year, be grateful. Cut yourself some slack. Like as I always say, pat yourself on the shoulder, look in the mirror and say, I love you, I commit to you, and I forgive you for all your shortcomings. There are no failures. There are only you either win or you learn, as Nelson Mandela says. And that's what matters. See your next decade as winning and learning. Take the ego out. If you need to work through it, hire a coach. But our ego obviously is scared. The little kid inside is scared. It's afraid to do new things. It's afraid to make mistakes. It's normal. That's why you need to surround yourself with people who say, hey, Steffi, hey, Mike, hey, Trenton, it's fine. It's okay to make mistakes. I've been there. We live on a planet with 8 billion people. Everywhere, every day we make mistakes. But maybe it's not a mistake. Maybe it's a learning opportunity. If we expect that we will fail or that we will get in a situation where we know we were not going to handle it, we know, okay, what did I learn from it? How can I do it next time better? The same for me with this video. I'm experimenting with different settings. And sometimes I'm thinking I'm embarrassed. I have not the vocabulary, or I'm not laughing enough, or I'm laughing too much. It's a hot mess sometimes, but I do it anyway because I know it can help somebody. Maybe it's just this one word, maybe it's the walk, maybe it's the energy, maybe it's the positivity, maybe it's the leadership that speaks to you, and you're like, man, I got to do more of that in 2023 and the next decade. So if this resonated with you, please share it with your loved ones, share the link, make sure that people actually benefit from this and that they feel inspired in this Christmas time, but also the new year. We dress like this for the Christmas times, but I think we have to celebrate every day. We have to celebrate that we are happy, that we are healthy, that we are grateful, that we are inspired, that we are in awe, and increase the emotional vocabulary rather than living in fear, anxiety. We need to look more towards the days and work on things that matter to us. Because when we do that, we know we are building the future for ourselves, for our kids, and not just because we need to earn money, but because we want to make an impact. We want to help a lot of people. So guys, as I always say, make sure you radiate positivity. How do you radiate positivity? It's all the things we talk about. It's starting with this. Walk, make sure you have people, you travel. Then also manage your insecurities. manage how you feel. How do you do it? Through a lot of different tools. We talked about here mental, physical health tools, resilience, and relationships. If you want to know more about it, go to the blog on Medium from FitFun Live, or magazine as we call it, and there you can read, every day different section on these topics. And lastly, you are a leader wherever you are. Organization, no organization, in your family, you're a leader. Everybody actually sells something every day. If you're selling to your partner is selling me to go to travel. We all do it every day, and we need to be better at this. We need to be stronger, we need to be awesome and inspiring. So guys, as I always say, make sure you have fun. Have fun along the way. I'm learning this in the last 20 years. I think I had too little fun, too much serious, too much living from my head and analytical mind rather than from my heart. Be that, combine that, be a good human being, share and radiate your kindness. We need more kindness today. Small things matter. It doesn't have to be big. And inspire the human beings, because we need that in the next decade, which is going to be challenging. And the resilience and all these tools will help you. It's not just 1 year. It will help you to build towards the longevity that you desire. Like my spouse, grandma, who just unfortunately passed away before her 100 years birthday. Because in COVID, she hasn't been moving much, but she didn't want to pass away. She had this will to live, which I talked about, the human force and life force, which is within us. And Tony Robbins talks about and writes in his book. So stay strong, stay awesome, learn, inspire, and I wish you great start or end to the year and great start to the new year, and I will see you very soon.